Okay, so come to sit on a height, climb into an internal felt sense of your dignity, of your grace, of your inherent beauty. Letting your practice connect you with the goodness that you are. I was thinking just yesterday, I was saying, we have that expression. Some people might say, oh my God. And other people might say, oh my goodness. And maybe they're saying the same thing. Like Buddhism would say that we all have at our core basic goodness. Basic goodness. It's unalterable. It's inherent. It's the ground of being. And although Buddhism might say there's no God exactly, I think, well, we all get to make our own associations, but it seems very similar to me. The ground of being, the goodness that we are. And it's possible to get so swayed by fear and so swayed by aggression and desire. Buddhism might say passion, aggression, and ignorance, that we lose connection with this basic goodness. We can get so many messages projected at us through the media, through whatever those forces are, that again, we get disconnected. But I love that yoga is a chance to drop in and find it. You can't really be disconnected from it, but you can be perhaps separated from it. So utilizing your practice as a way to affirm all of this beauty, all of this grace, to find all of the strength that you need from within. Go ahead and bring your hands into prayer. Feel your heart lift, allow your head to bow. I love this possibility, maybe you've seen this before, where you keep the pinky fingers and the thumbs touching, and you splay the other 6 fingers away from center. So the possibility that you're creating like a little lotus, a lotus at the heart. Feel your heart rise, maybe your head bows, and you could whisper into this open blossom any aspiration you have, any request you have, any wish for yourself or wish for the world. Maybe a dedication, maybe an offering for your practice. And then like you could seal it up, bring those fingertips back to touch. And maybe we could, just like you would water or give fertilizer to a plant, you could fertilize this intention, this aspiration with the pulse, with the vibration of Om together. Let's chant 3 times. You can hum, you can listen, you can quietly or silently chant. Let's inhale together. And go ahead and release your hands. Let's open the eyes and climb into heart bench. 1 block on the tallest height, near the back of your mat, 1 block on the narrow height in front of it. Does anyone not have blocks? Just raise your hand or give me a little wave, because if you have blankets, we can set up another possibility. Or if the blocks feel too, yeah, okay, good. If the blocks feel too edgy or for whatever reason. So, Victoria, do you have a blanket? So if you make your blanket kind of like a rectangle. You can roll it up into a long noodle. And then instead of blocks, you would have the long noodle be what you would lay back on. So if you watch for one more moment, you'll have the one edge of the blanket at your sacrum, and then the other end, you just sort of roll it out to create a little extra height. Does that seem clear? Okay, good. So when you lie back, the middle height block or the block under your spine goes lengthwise, and the bottom end of that block is no lower than where your ribs meet your spine. You do want your sacrum on the ground. And you could bring the soles of your feet to touch and let your knees drift out to the sides. You choose, palms up or palms down. And give yourself over to feeling how you feel. Hello, Mary Beth, nice to see you. Welcome. So we're starting in heart bench. Do you have 2 blocks? If you don't, it's okay if you have a blanket. Let me see. So if you have 2 blocks, one of the blocks is on the tallest height near the back of your mat, and one block is on the narrow side, and you lay back so that the blocks elevate the heart and tuck the chin in. I can't tell, Mary Beth, if you have blocks or not. If you don't, you can use a blanket and make like a long noodle. And have one end of the blanket against your lower back. And then you lie back on the blanket and tuck the end of the blanket under your neck to make a little pillow. The idea is that your head is higher than your heart. Well, that your chin tucks in, so your heart is uplifted and your brain is sort of tucking down and in. Yeah, gorgeous. And then you can bring the soles of your feet to touch and let your knees drift out to the sides. So giving yourself over to not a thought about how you are, but feeling your way into how you are. I love that we use the word feeling to talk about physical sensation and energy or pulse. Like a shiver isn't exactly a physical sensation, and yet there's like a pulse of energy. A throb, I guess, is a physical sensation. You know, they say that the feeling of sunlight on your skin is different from touch. But we use this word feeling also to talk about our emotions. I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling cranky. We use the word feeling when we can't actually put into a refined term how we feel, but if we say, I feel like screaming, Or I feel like punching a wall. That's not exactly an emotion, and yet it's such a feeling. We talk about our intuition, like gut feelings. Oh, I had a feeling that would happen. I personally have felt liberated recently, discovering that my feelings are not subject to laws of reason. my feelings don't have to be logical. In fact, they're not logical. And all the effort we make to apply logic and reason to our emotions is perhaps perhaps separating us from our humanity. So give yourself over to feel how you feel, all of the different ways that you feel. It's wonderful to have this opportunity to practice yoga together through this format. And just recognize there's also a challenge. Practicing in your own space, there's the potential for a lot more what we might call distractions. You might feel compelled to move off of your mat for a myriad of reasons. So just recognize it takes a lot of discipline to stay. And I just love that the root of the word discipline is disciple. So maybe you could ask, what are you a disciple of? And for your time on the mat, use your discipline to be a disciple of self-inquiry, a disciple of maybe spirituality, however you understand that, or a disciple of humanity. Let's inhale together and exhale, sigh. Press your elbows down, tuck your chin in, do whatever you like with your legs. Come up to sit. You can bring the soles of your feet to the ground and simply fold forward. Maybe hug yourself under your thighs. You could squeeze your muscles, like squeeze your calves, squeeze your thighs in a very loving way. But just the contact, feeling your body, feeling your perimeter, your boundary, like connecting with a sense of your autonomy. And go ahead and inhale to sit up. Let's extend the right leg long and bring the left foot. You can either bring the left foot to the inside top of the right leg. Since I'm facing the camera right now, I'll do a mirror image, but some of you are facing opposite. So just listen to the side I say. So the right leg will be long, the left knee will be bent. You can either bring the left foot to the inside top of the right leg, or if you prefer, you can bend the left knee, internally rotate, abduct the thigh, and fold over. We're folding over the right leg. So propping up on the edge of a blanket is good. Or if you find that you don't fold very far, if your low back rounds, you could bring the right foot to the floor, have the knee bent and fold forward. So it's as much or even more about your lower back as it is about your hamstrings. So go ahead and fold over that right leg. And just a refresher in yin yoga, here we're not engaging the muscles, we're not lengthening the spine. There's no integration of plugging the thigh bone in, for example. It's really letting go. Mary Oliver wrote in I was thinking that maybe we should just do Mary Oliver poems, but that could be like a whole year. Oh, I got some smiles and some thumbs up. Kate Howell once called Mary Oliver the patron saint of wake up yoga, which I think is very sweet. But I think this might be her most famous poem, Wild Geese. But yeah, she wrote, "You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. Let yourself sink a little bit more. There's this opening, just opening to yourself, opening to the reality. Which is everything, which is, yeah, everything on the spectrum. I said it a couple weeks ago, maybe you were in the class, it just occurred to me that this being human is like an all-inclusive resort. You get everything, everything's included. If you've ever been to an all-inclusive resort, sometimes it feels like it's supposed to be, I don't know if you had this experience, but I mean, sometimes it's good, and then other times you're like, but shouldn't it be better? but all inclusive. You get everything. You get to feel it all, which is a privilege. It's a privilege. Let's inhale here. And exhale, sigh. Use your hands, walk your hands under your armpits, press down, lift up, pause. Keep your left knee bent, lift it up to the sky. If it's behind you, still keep it bent, and then stretch that leg long. Very lovingly, you can rub your knee, roll your ankle. And then we'll bend the right knee. Some people might ask, should I do the same shape on both sides? And that's a tricky question. If one of your knees would love to go into this that the other one wasn't appreciating, I think in yin yoga, you get to make a choice. We're already asymmetrical. So rather than imagining you're trying to create symmetry, you could use your yin yoga to maximize the inherent mobility you do have or could have. So choose whichever is most appropriate for you. Again, you might have the left knee bent, so when you fold, the lower back rounds, or the leg could be long. If you need any extra help, please do click on your microphone. You can use your blocks to support, you can tuck your chin, you can sigh, you can cry, you can scream. Maybe that's like the best part about practicing at home. Who's that?
That's Indira Luna, my little girl. We call her.
Hello, Indira Luna.
And I was leaning on her. I said, you could hold your baby.
You could hold your baby. Just don't squish her.
Yeah.
Mary Oliver wrote in a piece called Poppies. The poppies send up their orange flares. Swaying in the wind, their congregations are a levitation of bright dust, of thin and lacy leaves. There isn't a place in this world that doesn't, sooner or later, drown in the indigos of darkness. But for now, for a while, the roughage shines like a miracle as it floats above everything with its yellow hair. Of course, nothing stops the cold, blacked, curved blade from hooking forward. Of course, loss is the great lesson. But also, I say this, that light is an invitation to happiness. And that happiness, when it's done right, is a kind of holiness, palpable and redemptive. Inside the bright fields, touched by their rough and spongy gold, I am washed and washed in the river of earthly delight. And what are you going to do? And what can you do about it, deep blue night? She's taunting the night. She says, yes, I know you're coming, but while there is light, I will be happy. And that happiness is holy. In the midst of everything, can you dare to be happy? Notice, could you sink a little bit more? Almost like there's like a trepidation about allowing ourselves to embrace this moment fully and be satisfied. Like an edginess, a checking, a tracking. Because we know it won't last, and so we feel we can't trust it. But what if you could trust it even though it won't last? Inhale here. And exhale, sigh. Slide your hands under your armpits, press down and lift up and pause. All right, let's get the inner thighs. Maybe you do a wide angle. Fold. Maybe you bring the soles of your feet to touch, to fold. Maybe you do like a frog or a wide leg child's pose to fold. Maybe you go to a wall or a couch and put your feet up and have your shins, have your thighs shin distance from the support. If you need more suggestions, let me know. I know I just ran through all the options pretty quickly. So Arlene, we're doing an inner thigh stretch. You could have your legs out to a wide angle. You could bring the soles of your feet to touch. You could bring your big toes to touch and fold forward. Yeah. And the really kind of lovely, one of the many lovely things, wonderful things about yin yoga is that a quality or a property of yin is not so many variations. A yang property would be infinite variations. Rather than imagining that yin is a practice of poses, I like to see yin as a method. And the method is using body weight and gravity to ease bones away from bones so that the tissue that binds the body together is tugged on or lengthened or exercised. You want to be able to relax your muscles. You want to be able to sink and melt. And every bone in the body can only move a certain number of ways. And to figure out how to move these different bones, these different joints in using no muscular effort or little muscular effort. There aren't that many ways to do it. There are probably more ways than I have in my personal canon. I just love that so much of our day could be about variation and everything changing, and there can be something so steadying about just a comfort or a familiarity. And let's say that there are 6 ways to move the femur bones. If you can figure out how to move the femur bone in all 6 ways in the course of, let's say, a week, then you're doing right by your body. I remember reading in Malcolm Gladwell's, I think it was his first book, although maybe it was his second book. It was his second book, I think. But he talked about how little kids, they want to keep repeating the same thing over and over again. Because it gives them confidence. It gives them confidence in a world that's always changing, that there's something they can rely on. They don't need it to always be different, always be stimulated. The structure is actually really helpful for their impressionable minds. And I like to take that even to us as adults when the world is so complex. So many things we can't necessarily count on, or there's always going to be this change, that there could be a grounding practice of yin yoga where you have some familiarity and you can sink and open. Just like we have the concept of comfort food. Yin yoga is like grilled cheese and tomato, grilled cheese, tomato sandwich, and tomato soup. And I think it's interesting to become familiar with any aspect of ourselves that is constantly seeking something new. The shiny objects, the thrills, or the just other experience. I love that yin, among many things, is giving us a chance to become more and more familiar with the experience we're already having. It's already magical. It's already astonishing. It's already exquisite. Okay, let's inhale here and exhale here. Use your hands, walk back in, lift up, pause, feel. Gorgeous, lovely. And you might use your own hands to bend your knees. Let's shift toward hands and knees, and we'll practice dragon pose. So you can have an extra blanket if you like under your shin, the left shin. come to hands and knees and step the right foot forward. So you'll have the left thigh dropping down. Now, if you have blocks, your blocks could be on any height. If you don't have blocks, your hands can stay on the floor or come to your front knee. If your hands are coming to the floor or onto blocks, you might have both hands framing the front foot, or some people prefer both hands on the inside of the foot. And yin yoga, again, we're not seeking some ideal external ideal or external shape, but rather finding the way to put your own limbs, your own bones, so you feel the tugging in the back thigh. So here you want to feel the left thigh sinking and opening. And then this is yin yoga, but even inside of a yin practice, some of the poses are more yin and some of them are more yang. The nature of duality is that there's always going to be this continuum. So if this feels a little too yang for you, a little too energized, or a little too effortful, if your bones allow, you could take this left foot, move it to the left, sit down on the inside of the foot, and come to lie down. So the left knee might lift up, the right foot might come to the ground. And if anyone is interested in making that sensation more intense, you could lift up your hips and slide a block under your lower back, which is by changing that joint angle, you influence the movement, the mobility. Yin yoga, again, it's not about it's a great place to notice if you're constantly chasing after something else. Does anyone need more help around this? Should I describe it some more? No, just keep talking. This is torture. How many of you right now are saying to yourself, this is dragon pose because it drags on forever? Mary Oliver wrote in a piece called The Sun. It's like a greatest hits yoga class. She wrote, have you ever seen anything in your life more wonderful than the way the sun, every evening, relaxed and easy, floats toward the horizon and into the clouds or the hills or the rumpled sea and is gone? And how it slides again out of the blackness every morning on the other side of the world, like a red flower streaming upward on its heavenly oils, say, on a morning in early summer, at its perfect imperial distance. And have you ever felt for anything such wild love? Do you think there is anywhere, in any language, a word billowing enough for the pleasure that fills you as the sun reaches out, as it warms you, as you stand there empty-handed? Or have you too turned from this world? Or have you too gone crazy for power, for things? Notice the expression on your face, what it reveals about whatever you are contemplating or noticing. Often when there's an intensity, we want to shroud it or protect it and retreat from it. Yin yoga is giving you practice of moving toward it, not through it, not trying to get rid of it, not even trying to fix it, but daring to feel it, to know it. Inhale, receive the breath deeply to the far internal corners of your body. And exhale, sigh. Go ahead and draw your hips back. You can rock your right foot a little forward, rock the knee. If you're already if you're all the way on your back, maybe you swivel the foot, roll the ankle. We'll move right into an external hip opener from here. So if you are forward, or you could shift back to this shape, start to walk your right foot toward your left wrist. So your shin, your ankle, and your knee can ground. And walk your hands forward to come into a sleeping swan shape. If that doesn't work for you and there's some other shape that does work for you, you might want to lay on your back, cross your right ankle onto your left knee, and lace your hands on the back of the thigh. If you're near a wall, you could put the left foot on a wall, which could be more passive, perhaps. Can I be more helpful? Would anyone like more instruction than that? So we're seeking to get the external, the deep six external rotators of the right leg. So you could do a pose that's frequently called pigeon, or in this tradition often called sleeping swan, where the right knee would be forward. You don't want to feel your knee. Folding forward, perhaps walking your torso to the left a little. Good. Give me a wave if I can be more helpful at this moment about getting you into this pose. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue. Soften the skin of your face. In a piece called Morning Poem, Mary Oliver wrote, "Every morning, the world is created. Every morning, the world is created. Under the orange sticks of the sun, the heaped ashes of the night turn into leaves again and fasten themselves to the high branches. And the ponds appear like black cloth on which are painted islands of summer lilies. If it is your nature to be happy, you will swim away along the soft trails for hours, your imagination alighting everywhere. And if your spirit carries within it the thorn that is heavier than lead, if it's all you can do to keep on trudging, there is still somewhere deep within you a beast shouting that the earth is exactly what it wanted. Each pond with its blazing lilies is a prayer heard and answered lavishly every morning, whether or not you have ever dared to be happy, whether or not you have ever dared to pray." Just a few more breaths here. You can do it. It's hard. How many of you are reading or have read the Untamed? Such a good book. She says, we can do hard things. We can do hard things. Inhale here. Exhale, sigh. If you're folded forward, walk your hands in, lift your torso up. You can come through hands and knees, drive your right heel back, wiggle side to side, roll your ankle. If it would feel kind of fun to get weight on your left hand and keep the right leg long, just reach the right arm up to the sky. You could do that. Swivel your arm around, roll your ankle, whatever's delicious. And then come back. Come back to hands and knees, and we'll step the left foot forward. The top of the right thigh descends. Your hands might frame the front foot. They might both be on the inside of the front foot. Your hands might climb to blocks or your knee. If you want to instead make it a bit more passive, you can lie down, have the right foot to the outside of the right hip, and maybe come all the way down. In a piece called Mindful, Saint Mary, Saint Mary Oliver wrote, Mary Oliver wrote, every day I see or I hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It is what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab, the daily presentations. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world, the ocean's shine, the prayers that are made out of grass. What would it be like to live your life like it's a poem? Feel where your breath has access, where it might be a little stuck. See if you could soften a little more into the opening of your right thigh, opening to the physical sensation, maybe the anguish, maybe the dread. Last couple of breaths here. Don't hold your breath. Inhale really deeply. Draw your hips back if you're forward. You might slide the left foot a bit forward and roll the ankle and hinge over the leg. And then walk the left foot toward the right wrist if that's the right shape for you. Right leg goes long, maybe the right heel lines up with the sitting bone. This left shin might be parallel to the top of the mat, or the left shin might be on a diagonal. The left heel could be closer to the right hip. Position yourself so you do feel the left outer hip and so you don't feel the knee at all. And go ahead and walk your hands forward. And if it's better for you to lie on your back and cross your left ankle on your right knee, do that. If it's better to come to a wall, do that. Do you need some help? Are you good? Okay, good. Yeah. Keep the breath moving deeply through your ribs, the back of your body. So again, not just notice if there's an intense sensation, if the instinct or the impulse is to move away from it, to feel like you could protect it, and see if you could just move toward it. Befriend it, know it. I haven't read this one before, so I'm going to read it for the first time with you. It sounds great. It's called Don't Hesitate. If you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give into it. There are plenty of lives and whole towns destroyed or about to be. We are not wise and not very often kind. And much can never be redeemed. Still, life has some possibility left. Perhaps this is its way of fighting back, that sometimes something happens better than all the riches or power in the world. It could be anything, but very likely you notice it in the instant when love begins. Anyway, that's often the case. Anyway, whatever it is, don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy is not made to be a crumb. It is a dare, isn't it? A dare to be happy. I dare you. Double dog dare you. I double downward dog dare you to be happy. I'm just imagining children taunting each other with dares. I dare you. I dare you too. You too chicken. You too chicken to be happy. You're not too chicken. You can do it. In the midst of everything exactly as it is. Inhale here. Exhale, sigh. Walk your hands back in. Lift up. You can come onto hands and knees. You can drive one heel back at a time. Whatever feels right as you kind of wiggle around a little bit. Yeah. Good. Let's come to lie on the back. So come to lie on your back. We'll do a lying down twist. You have lots of choices. You might have your knees bent, both knees to the left. You might wrap your right thigh over your left thigh. Bring both knees to the left. You might keep your left leg long, right knee in, fold the right knee to the left. So again, at least 3 choices, both knees into the belly, both knees to the left side. Or both knees in, right thigh over, both knees to the left. Or left leg long, right knee to the left. Your right arm comes out like a T. Let it be out like a T or even a little higher than your shoulder. So there's a chance of like a little opening through your armpit chest area. Look to the sky, or if you can, look to the right. William Stafford wrote a poem called Any Morning. It feels like it could fit with our theme, if we have one, of finding joy, of finding happiness, of daring to be happy. He wrote, it's called Any Morning. Just lying on the couch and being happy. Only humming a little, the quiet sound in the head. Trouble is busy elsewhere at the moment. It has so much to do in this world. People who might judge are mostly asleep. They can't monitor you all the time, and sometimes they forget. When dawn flows over the bridge, you can get up and act busy. Little corners like this, pieces of heaven left lying around, can be picked up and saved. People won't even see that you have them. They are so light and easy to hide. Later in the day, you can act like the others. You can shake your head. You can frown. Inhale here. And exhale, sigh. Roll back onto your back. Pause for a moment. And as you're ready, take a twist, bringing the knees or a knee to the left. So both knees might be bent, or the left thigh might be over the right thigh, or the right leg might be long. If you need more counsel, more visuals on that, let me know. Left arm can come out like a T or a goalpost. Look to the sky or look to the left. Inhale and exhale, sigh. Roll back onto your back. Snug your knees in. Rock a little side to side. As you're ready, extend your legs long. So maybe you snuggle under a blanket, maybe you roll a blanket up underneath your knees, maybe you put on your socks or your sleeves, or find the weight or warmth of something to lay over top of your eyes. Tuck yourself in. What would it take to dare yourself to be happy? Hmm. Feeling yourself nestled into the tender embrace of this world. Feel yourself cherished, valued, adored by the stars. Cheered on by the trees as wind moves through their leaves and they applaud. Could you dare to choose all of it? I heard my dog sigh. She just went. So maybe you could do that too. Take in a deep breath and feel delight, feel joy as you exhale and sigh. Can move the miracles of your fingers and be astonished by the agility of your ankles and curl your toes. Bend your knees into your belly. Thank your knees for how hard they work. Curl into a little ball on your right side and hug yourself in. I like kissing knees, kissing elbows or arms or hands or wherever the lips could touch, just little smooches all over. And go ahead and build your way back up to sitting, returning to a comfortable cross-legged position. Perhaps on the edge of a blanket or block, or again, climbing into the goodness that you are. It's not contrived. You don't have to find it outside. Developing more and more confidence in this goodness, more and more confidence in yourself, in your ability to meet life moment by moment, responding with as much agility and resilience as you can. Not trying to win. You're not going to win this life, but you could actually live it. You could actually live your life without fear. Which means, I think, that we have to open up to the pain that is inevitable. Find a place for it. And discover that even that is beautiful. Bring your hands into prayer, lift your heart, bow your head. Maybe the 3 fingers on each hand pull away for a moment so you can reflect upon a wish or aspiration, a blessing, a quest. Let your fingers curl back in. I love that one poem that there is somewhere inside of you a beast that shouted, the earth is exactly what it wanted. Making yourself utterly at home here. Let's conclude with the sound of a single Om. Drift your arms around behind you. Your right hand holds your left wrist. Your left thumb and forefinger touch. Beam your heart toward the stars, the planets, the sun, feeling your kinship. And lead with the heart as you bow forward, sealing in your practice. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.